The title of my presentation is Why the Extra Parts. So basically, I'm going to go over all of the different parts in the human body that we have that actually serve no function and why it is that we have them. First off, everybody gets goosebumps, and you get goosebumps when it's cold or a breeze of air goes by your skin and the bumps raise up. Well, what's the purpose of goosebumps? They don't really help us in any way. You can't actually see them from far away. So why do we have goosebumps? Well, animals generally also get goosebumps, but their goosebumps are usually connected to either fur or feathers. And when they get the goosebumps, their fur or feathers usually plump up, and that helps them trap in heat, or it helps them make themselves larger or scarier to predators. Here's another interesting fact about humans. We have these ear muscles, but not all of us can use them. How many people can actually wiggle their ears? So most people can't wiggle their ears, which is why it's kind of interesting that we have these muscles when a lot of us can't even use them. In animals, the muscles on the ears are necessary, especially in animals that hunt or need a certain amount of vigilance. So if you ever seen a dog or a cat in nature and you make a sound around them, they'll prop themselves up and they'll raise their ears and kind of keep a lookout for danger. But in humans, since we don't really need to be vigilant or we're not really hunting for anything, or most of us aren't hunting for anything, a lot of us might have lost that function. Now everybody knows that what the coccyx is. It's the tailbone basically, and we all know that we have one, there's no use for it, and you've probably heard that once upon a time we all once had tails, or it's an indication of the fact that we all had tails. But not a lot of people buy it. Well, here's a picture of a guy that has a tail actually. And some people still are born with tails. I guess most people have it removed before they reach adulthood, but there is evidence that people actually are still born with tails. So what does that mean for human evolution? A lot of vestigial organs, as I call it, are organs that have once upon a time had function, but were lost in the course of evolution because we didn't need it. So it's important for us to get rid of the organs that we don't need in order to allocate energy to organs that we do have. But there's also another theory that we are like museums of structures that have no useful function, but these represent the remains of organs that once had use. So it's sort of like incomplete evolution where the organs don't always degenerate completely but are still there. That is something that we call, here's something that we call biogenic law. Now there's a theory amongst embryologists that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. So when you take a look at the development of a human, people say that visually it represents our phylogeny or how we evolved. And so take a look at these embryos down below. If they were not labeled, would you be able to tell which belonged to what species? So when you take a look at the embryos, each has a tail and each even has a gill slit. So humans, when they're embryos, also have gill slits. And so as embryos developed, it kind of represents the evolution of man. But what does that mean in general? That's pretty much up to you to decide.